Okay, this is Peg Leg Craig. One of the things that people ask me is, how do you get cardio? Being, crippled, you can't jog, you can't do jumping jacks or, calisthenics that generally encourage cardio. One of the ways I do it is with is with a punching bag. Now, I recommend this for older people, especially like, people around my age, 60 and up. Even when you get in your 50s, actually is a better time to do it because it helps me. I'm only going to tell you what it does for me. What you do on your own is your own choice, okay? I don't want to be accused of giving medical advice or anything else. So what I'm telling you is it benefits your bone. It benefits my bones when I do this, okay? And we've set up a few of these in other people's yards, older people's yards. We've done it with mattresses and whatnot. This I just happen to be able to afford. It's not an expensive kit. This whole thing together cost me $130. So, and it's well worth it. Now, again, you don't hit this thing like you're training to fight Jake Paul, all right? You're just trying to put some work in. And as you put in that work, you get more, your heart rate goes up. My heart rate goes up. Sometimes though, like today, I'm having pinches in my legs, so it's a little bit harder to stay up with it. But the idea is just to complete drills, Now I'm doing like style, like basic. But, one of the best ways, if you just want to do one exercise a day with this, is, just every time it comes back at you, I hit it 1, 2. And, sometimes I have to remind myself not to be hitting it too hard because that can also, cause problems. But if you hit it at a normal level, it shouldn't be a problem at all. And, it's not bad to keep yourself ready for a fight. Muscles that I use when I'm hitting things, are very different than the muscles I use to lift things. So your body has to be able to absorb impact. If you ever have to throw a punch at somebody, your body's got to be used to it. That's why fights are exhausting for people who aren't used to fighting. So now you get that idea. Usually I give it about 15, 20 minutes a day, something like that. And maybe I'll go back there later, another 10 minutes after dinner, something like that. And again, it gives me a good amount of cardio. I'm a smoker, so you can tell I'm breathing a little bit heavy, but gives you that little bit of cardio, helps with your bone density, helps with my bone density. I'm sorry. This is not medical advice. I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm telling you what I do. And it also, again, gives you a little more confidence if, you're out there. And I generally turn the bag. One of the things you notice in gyms, they keep the bag facing one way and it starts getting, bag sag around the middle or wherever it's being hit most, So you gotta reverse the bags. I mean, you have to reverse the bags, period. But a lot of gyms, they really don't do that. They tape around the middle, which helps pull it back into place. And it's also good for the hands. But, a lot of good punching bags get wasted just by not being rotated properly like tires on a car. And if you got a swivel like this, there's really no excuse, as I can just lift it, turn it the other way. No big deal. So this is part one of how I get cardio. Again, you don't have to be punching this thing like you're trying to win the heavyweight championship. All right. All you have to do is just put a little effort into it, you know, move a little faster than you might normally. Like, you know, don't do this because you're not going to get any cardio out of it. Probably not going to get any bone density work out of it. You know, you pick a target. Like I use the yellow sometimes, or if I'm thinking a little bit lower, then I just make one in mind for about right here. All right, so anyway, that completes one way of how I get cardio. We're going to get into some other ones. One of them requires walking, and I'm going to show you how you can walk with my unique issues best for your body. A lot of people use a cane, one cane on one side of their body, and that's how you develop arches and sort of an unnatural growth of yourself. Whereas if you use two canes, you maintain a symmetrical balance, which I'm going to get into when I do the two canes walk. Matter of fact, I guess I'll do that next. Be back. A lot of people go wrong with canes. And I think one of the ways of going wrong with canes is using one all the time. I mean, I know sometimes you don't want to go through the effort of using two, and that would make sense. I'm that way too. But at the same time, you want to maintain a certain amount of symmetry to your body. So even if you're walking around with one cane all day, at least take some time in the morning and use two would be my recommendation. But that's only what works for me. What works for you is up to you. But let me show you what I mean. Okay. All right, now when I am walking like this, it gives my upper body, it's good for my shoulders, it's good for my my pecs, which are turning into moobs now because I haven't been able to work out for a few months. So I'm just getting started today, and I want to share the journey with you. So if I look weak and feeble and whatever, just cheer for me. I hope we'll get better. Anyway, there's a couple of ways that you can walk with a cane. You know, most people, when they develop something that makes them need a cane, they just take up the standard. Let's say, okay, in my case here, let me show you. Okay, I have nerve damage to this leg. This knee doesn't hold up a lot of times. I can walk without canes entirely. I usually limp a bit, you know, but what happens is man, it just happened on camera. Couldn't ask for a better timing. If I get a buckle in my knee, I could easily fall over. So actually, if I, you know, go too quick, I have to keep a hand here. If I don't have, like, I'm going to get my cane or something, I keep a hand here because if I feel that buckle, then I can at least stop myself, you know. So anyway, there's a few ways to walk with canes. Now, all right, let's just say your problem is your right leg. All right. However, that translates to you on camera. All right, this is that normal walk. This is the one that, you know, most people will use. And it's not bad. It does redistribute your weight a little bit, takes weight off of the side, but there's actually a better one. And, you know, I hate people that like try to turn into Sherlock Holmes. Aha, you're using the cane on either side. You know, you're George Costanza. No. When you use the cane on this side, let's say you're favoring the right leg. I'm favoring right. All right. And I use the cane in my left hand. What you're doing is you're evenly distributing your body weight. So it's very similar to using two canes instead of using one on the side that you have the element on. Okay. So this way here, you'll see, you get a smoother walk. Sorry, I'm not a more attractive figure walking away, but I do what I can. Now, when I was used to using a cane in one side, on the side that I favored, this was very awkward at first. All right. But now it's become, very simple for me. And when I'm out on those occasions where I don't want to be the guy with the two canes that stands out and is noticeable, I'm the guy with the one cane, but I know how to evenly walk in those situations. So it saves a ton of stress on my leg, and I'm able to stand and walk around for longer periods of time. Was a time when I really couldn't stand up for more than an hour at a time. Now I can hike up to 10 miles as long as I've got two canes. So that's my rendition of, how to walk with canes properly for me. And if any of that stuff looks interesting to you, then, fine. And we can talk about how it affected me, and not me giving you any kind of medical advice. Okay. I have to say that, unfortunately. So I am. I'm going to give you one more with each walk, and you'll see the difference. Okay. So I'm going to. And again, I love this way because I know every move that I'm making, I'm getting upper body exercise. My legs can't handle the weight anymore. They can't pull the full weight of my body. So I have to rely, on my arms to compensate. My arms aren't happy about it, but my legs enjoy the work. So that's one way. Okay. Let's do the other good way, and that's opposites. Okay. You favor your right, cane in your left. Okay, as you can see again, I get that even walk. You know what I mean? It's very, very even, very easy for my body. All right, let's do it with what I don't call it the wrong way, but I call it the way you should use at the least. I mean, sometimes this arm is going through too much, and this hand, it's easy for me to say no because I have shakes and tremors from TBI. That's why I wear leg braces. But you're doing it this way here is how you end up, like if you can see the unnaturalness of how my body has to tilt this way, and it's not an upright symmetrical motion. So already I'm working certain muscles on one side and I'm not working other muscles on the other side. Okay. Again, you're leading yourself into things. I would be leading myself into things by doing it this way. All right. When you lean your arm in, okay, you're already, working this arm more than this arm. Okay. So believe it or not, it will show eventually if you exercise it on any kind of regular basis. That will show you the musculature will be different. It won't necessarily be that one arm is big, one arm is small, but the musculature of each arm will be different, and it won't look symmetrical. And again, symmetrical isn't just about vanity or looks. The more symmetrical a body remains, in my opinion, at least my body, the more symmetrical it remains, the more mobile you are. Because I've been, hunched up, crunched up, and bunched up, just about every way I can think of, and I've managed to get out of it because I keep moving. Even when it's hard. Sometimes when I'm walking, I'll lose this leg entirely, and then I have to, lock the brace in place completely so the knee can't bend anymore. That's as far as the knee will bend on that. So like I can't really fall, but I look like someone on the street in Kensington, Okay, I overdid it there for comedy's sake. Hope you enjoyed that. All right, so like I said, I would stick with 2 canes for at least, if you want to take a walk around the park, get your morning exercise or whatever, at least take that run with 2 canes, your first run of every day. So you straighten up everything that could be hunched or crooked or anything else from any other way. Also, 2 canes helps with if you have a hunching problem, as long as you have, the right kind of canes for you, the ones that would fit your arms best. And believe me, I've gone through a whole lot before I decided on these 2 mahogany babies. All right. And people say, well, how come you don't wear the ones with the straps? It's, kind of easier. It is in a way, but I find that it is much tougher on my rotator cuff because of how your hands have to sit. Now, this is tough on your wrists, but it will make your wrists very strong. Once your wrists get, increased in strength, once my wrists increased in strength, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm sorry. Once my wrists increased in strength, then I was able to do this, in a flying pace. I'm not in the shape I'm normally in. So we based that on an AI model of the necrosis that would take place in the type of zombies that we created in Crossing Corpses. And we tried to weight one of my friends down. I wish we had filmed this. We may do the simulation again just for the fun of it. But how fast a runner zombie would be. It still wouldn't run like a human being can run. And a human being could still outrun a runner zombie in our story. It's not like 28 days later where they just, they're going to get you. But one of the things that he was chasing me, and I managed to get away a couple of times, which embarrassed him and made me real proud of myself, probably falsely. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out. Today we covered a little bit about walking. That's how I get my cardio. When I walk fast with these canes, it elevates your heart rate. It makes parts of your body work that aren't used to working when you're walking. So you're getting, an extra workout exercise with it. Basically, you're carrying your own even parallel bars, And I'm not saying that you want to do that, but you always want to be prepared now. We're living in that day and age where people like us, people who have things that people can see right away that make you vulnerable, people like us, we have to look after ourselves. We have to be ready to fight because we got no one to fight for us. We're older people and we have to do that. Anyway, again, thanks for tuning in. Love you all. And pray for me. I'm praying for you.